Here we go, and let's welcome Angel.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, I am absolutely fantastic. I am fantastic. Again, just saying in the wee introduction there that I appreciate you doing this on such short notice, shall we say. But no, I really appreciate it.
You're
So
welcome.
tell us about your story. Tell us about your story.
My story starts, it covers many awarenesses. It don't only cover domestic violence awareness. I'm also a cancer survivor who was cut 5 inches across my neck to save my life from thyroid cancer. Um, When I noticed that I was losing weight, I kind of thought that it was more of me doing the right thing with my body. I even went to the doctors and I asked them, like, hey, what's going on with me? I was told that I was completely fine. Well, one day I was going up some steps and I just fell out the blue. I just fell. When I fell, I could hear people telling me to get up, but I couldn't get up. I lost control of my hands and my feet, which was very hard for me because I honestly thought that I was dying. Um, I had just had my sixth child, um, and it was scary. My baby, he was probably maybe 5 months old, and I had five other kids counting on me to, be able to be mom and take care of them. But I thought I was dying, so I went to the hospital. And when I got there, I started to feel completely fine. Like nothing ever happened to me. And then I hear my name called. And when they called my name, they told me that I had thyroid and Graves' disease and that I would have to undergo some type of like kind of like chemo radiation where I would be away from my kids. And I was scared to be away from my kids. My mom, she only had two kids. We were like almost 10 years apart. My mama wouldn't know what to do with that many kids. Not only that, I was only 27 or 28 years old, and I was a mom of six kids fighting cancer. Um, I thought that I was okay, and I was scared of the radiation, so I didn't go to the doctor. I avoided this for 2 years, and I found out that what was then a disease was now cancer. I found out my heart was now beating like an 80-year-old woman as a 20 something, as a freshly 30-year-old girl. Um, they said we're gonna have to do emergency surgery on you. Well, I didn't have insurance, and they still did the surgery on me. I would love to give a great shout out to it's now St. Thomas Midtown in Nashville, Tennessee, here in the United States of America.
Nice.
They did something where they had me sign a paper and they did it fast. I had the incident on I want to say I had my incident on Thursday night. They told me I would have surgery by Tuesday. I was having surgery on Sunday. That's how bad it was. What I had was thyroid surgery, which a lot of women have thyroid problems. And what I noticed before that is it actually looks like an Adam's apple on a woman.
Oh,
You know how men have an Adam's apple, and that's what it
yeah.
starts to look on you. But it takes your weight, and it also takes your hair. So I lost my hair again after losing it to domestic violence. I did lose it to domestic violence when I was 23, but I had started to grow my hair back, and then I lost it to cancer. The medicine that I'm on is actually what took me so long to meet you, to get back into this interview, because I went to pick up my medicine, which is a medicine I have to take for the rest of my life to stay alive. And it's called levothyroxine. And when you lose your thyroid, you have to take it for the rest of your life. but your life still never goes back the same. You're extremely hot. You either extremely cold. You go big. You go little. Your hair grows again. It falls out again. It's hard. Even though I am not with cancer anymore, I still deal with things in my body that are not where they're supposed to be. So a lot of
Yeah,
people feel like, when you beat cancer, it's swept under the rug because you beat it. But what about us that's still dealing with things like my hair that it'll just easily come off? I have no control of that. Yes, I'm here, I'm breathing, I'm strong, but it claimed my life. I don't know if you saw my pictures, but I was cut from here to here, five
yeah,
inches across my neck. People are usually cut 1 to 3 inches. But because mine had got so big, I was cut 5 inches. For me, it was a very life scary experience. Um, I would have to say you need to be mentally strong and around people who love you and encourage you when you're battling cancer, because you'll hear other stories where people wasn't as fortunate as you, and then you'll hear other stories where people were just where you are and it got bad. So you have to know that your situation is yours and you can get better, because if not, I was reading a lot of stories, and it didn't feel like I was gonna get better. Um the hardest part about it all, I could say, was having something that's not talked about in the world today.
for sure.
They talk about breast cancer, they talk about cervical cancer. Thyroid is in your neck. It
Yeah.
changes your food, it changes your swallowing, it changes everything about you, it changes your mood, it changes your mind. It does a lot. And for me, a woman who had already been through so much with domestic violence, my ex-husband, I had ended up marrying my ex-husband at 19. We dated since we were 14. But we also had a crazy kind of relationship where he put his hands on me and I thought that was love. So that's how I lost my teeth at 23. So when I battled cancer, I was like, God, what you want from me? You know? Um, but I feel like everything that I went through is to be able to tell and share with other people so they can know that they can go on. And anybody who watches this interview, I also want them to know that the tears I'm crying are tears of joy, because I'm here and able to tell my story, because I was so bad off, because I was like 100 pounds. Let me tell you something. I've always been a big girl. Even when I was a little girl, I was a big girl. So for me to get down to 100 pounds, I was like, oh my God, I'm doing something right. And my doctors tell me, they never told me something was going wrong until I didn't feel, as comfortable. I would
Yeah.
like, and I want to say this to say, women, get your bodies checked, okay? Because I could be frying chicken, right? And that heat comes up
Mhm.
from that. This is before I was diagnosed. That heat would come from that chicken and it would make me feel so weak. I would feel like I'm about to, like pass out, like I'm struggling for air and breath. But I was only 20 something years old. Those were the signs where I should have said, something is wrong with me. Something is not right. But I didn't, because I was so hot headed. So that's why I also want to be that voice to women that are where I was. Don't think that, you are too young for this to be you. You are too young, for something to be going wrong, because you're never too young, I realized.
Yeah. So, do you think that perhaps being in America, obviously, I know that you guys have to pay for medical and stuff like that. Do you think that would potentially put a lot of women off being checked?
It would, and it definitely can. And let me explain that to you, since we're talking about the way the insurance and stuff works over here. Well, I married my high school sweetheart at 19, and as soon as we got married, they took insurance away from me. And I want to say, just because you get married doesn't mean you're financially stable. Do that make sense? But they took
Yes.
since we are married, I mean, we were 20 and 19-year-old kids, perhaps. We were still kids, just having kids, but they took that away. And when they done it, of course, we're in a marriage, we're having sex. So we didn't do nothing but continue to have more kids. Although we wanted a big family, it was like we were having them at this point because there was no protection there. Soon as we got a divorce, what you think I got back?
Your insurance.
My insurance back.
So why was that? Why did they take it from you in the first place? Was it just because you got married?
Because I got married. If you get
So,
married, and then although he didn't have no income,
mhm,
he was rich. He didn't have any income. So we should still be able to have those things if you're going to go along with whatever you need to have Medicaid, right?
yeah, that's mad.
I have insurance now. My insurance is paid for my glasses. The insurance that I have in the state of California is paying for my teeth. I get to go get my teeth done starting on Thursday. So I do have it now, but not having insurance also kept me from being able to grow.
Yeah,
Because if you have no insurance and you're using condoms, they say those are 100%. If you're trying to stop us, save the people from having all these children and being able to have success, right? But you live at home with a man and you're putting on a condom. Condoms are not 100%. So why take
yeah,
their insurance and then they can't get any birth control? Because
yeah.
that took my birth control.
That's insane. I mean, over here we have like the NHS. We get a lot of free stuff, and we are blessed over here.
Oh my
We are
God. God is good.
blessed. My daughter, she just turned 13 today.
Happy
And she,
birthday.
yeah, yeah, I am so blessed. But she has arthritis.
The arthritis.
And yeah, and all the medication that she gets is obviously it's free. All the care that she gets free. And honestly, I think that for as much as what's going on in our country just now, the NHS gets such a bad reputation, but
Yes.
you don't know how good we've got it until you're in kind of your situation.
Uh-huh.
So I think that people just need to be mindful and appreciate what they've got because it's
Yeah.
not always easy. Do you know what I mean?
Always easy. No, it's not always easy. Like some people, they didn't have to get, the surgery that I got cut across my neck. They didn't have to get theirs removed. And I won't lie, I prayed for the best. I prayed to, not have to get mine removed. I would have loved that. But what I couldn't do was spend the amount of weeks that they wanted me to spend away from these children of mine. With the surgery, I would say I spent maybe 3 days away from my children. But right after I came out of surgery, they came to see me. I went right back to normal. My mom, I had my own house, maybe an hour and a half from my mom. But after my surgery and I got sick, I stayed with my mom for a year. I didn't have no help from my state, no help from my doctors. I have to thank God for my landlord that although I went to stay with my mom, he let me stay in my house. So although I wasn't in my house for a whole year, after I got well, I was able to go back to my house. So I must thank my landlord for that. He was a great man. Because it's not easy. When you fighting all these battles of health problems,
Yeah,
your finances still go on. Your bills still go on. You still have to pay your rent. Your kids are still in need. Everything.
yeah,
So I wanted to point out that it was very, great to have a landlord who understood this lady just got sick and I'm gonna, allow her to continue to have her home. I know everybody is not fortunate to have family and friends that hold them together during this. So my thing would be if you don't have family and friends, lean on God.
yeah. I was just going to say, do you think it's cliche to say things like that, that a support network, a good support network is so vital? I think in not just in everyday life, but in a situation like yours, how important was it to have such a good support network?
It was very important because I lost a lot of self love for myself. To see my body go through these changes was scary. I
Yeah.
never thought I would feel like I could see myself leaving the world. Like the disappearance of how big my arms are now. Like everything. My daughter, she's 17 now. So she was 10 and she was in a size 10, 12 clothes. Do you know I went to put her pants on and I actually wore her pants the whole day and I didn't know they were her pants until later that night. And this is before I found out I was sick. I was
Yeah.
just small. But I had changed my eating habits, so I honestly thought that I, Angel, was doing something right, and
Yeah.
that's why my name is Angel. I survived because I feel like I literally survived that. That tried to claim my life. It tried to make me feel like I wouldn't go back to the top, graduate, and get back to where I am now. And I'll honestly say, I feel like society failed me. When it comes to cancer, I also feel like society failed my mother. My mother just beat cancer as well. My mother just beat cervical cancer. She's a woman who has worked all my life since I was 14 years old. I mean, since she was 14 years old, she got pregnant with me at 15, had me at 16. She has worked every day. Is you ready? She's 50 years old. She gets cervical cancer, lose her jobs, and can't work. Do you know this world that we live in over here in the United States didn't help my mama at all? I owned a store and I paid my mama's bills. Yeah, I owned a store. I paid my mama's bills and I took care of two households while my mama battled cancer. My mama right now is done. She rung the bell and she's still not the same. I feel like in America, they need to, for cancer patients, they should offer them mental help.
Yes.
Because my mama felt like she didn't want to live no more. How can we keep our people who are so sick? How can we keep them going and keep them, feeling like they can go on to the next level, although so much is going wrong within their body? If the state isn't helping them, their bills are piling up. What can they do? To this day, right now, my mama still don't get SSI or Social Security for what she went through. And there's so many things that she still cannot do. She can't stand up too long, because the radiation, they say
Yeah.
after radiation is supposed to make you better, right? I didn't get the same mama that I had. And my mama looks younger than me. So for me, cancer has smacked me in the face twice.
Do you think that it's taken like just as much a toll on you mentally as it has physically?
Yes, it will kill you mentally if you are not strong. You will die from cancer in your mental before you die physically because your mind is racing. First of all, you're facing things you've never faced before. Your mind is already racing because you're going through so much, and the doctors is telling you, well, this is your next appointment. They're not asking you, are you mentally okay? Do you need to talk to somebody? We got somebody that talks to people when they get this way. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's, that's like telling somebody that they're going into hospice, but you don't have nobody to talk to them mentally.
What like is the mental health situation like in American hospitals?
The mental health in America is not important. That's why you see me telling my story and doing what I'm doing. When I'm done, I want mental health to be important to everybody, not just women, children, but men too. My ex-husband committed suicide. He killed himself. But in America, these black men, they're too they're too set aside that you don't even think they got a mental problem because you think they just want to be on the other side of the fence. That makes sense?
Yes. Do you think that there's a lot of stigma still in the mental health in men?
I feel like there's a lot of stigma in all of mental health. My daughter was 12 years old when she found her daddy hanging to suicide and covered in flies. Didn't get a funeral. The police didn't give her no answers. How was she not important? She is going to be 18 years old. She still got questions as to what happened to her daddy. How did y'all leave this out, leave it out, rule it out to be a suicide? You don't think that messed with that girl? Her mental health? They didn't think she deserved no answers? Or
I mean,
her mama was sent to put all the pieces back together?
at 12 years old, that is, I mean, that's a lot for anybody at any age,
Yeah.
but a 12-year-old, that is horrific.
5 days after her birthday, and she had to cut the cord around from her father's neck. Mental health is way more important. Like when I tell you I'm pushing for so many different awarenesses with what I'm doing, because I'm also an autism mom. My baby that when I fought my thyroid cancer, my baby that was little, that didn't walk till he was 3, that didn't talk till he was 4, he was diagnosed to not walk or talk. He's autistic. Say
Yeah.
hi. Say hi. He can hear you. Just say hi. He's smiling. So so mental health is very important in my house. Also, give me one second here. This is what I take for my mental health. I take mental health meds. This is Lexapro. So you ask me, is mental health important? It's very important. It's so important that when I was younger, I wouldn't even take the medicine. But as I see what's going on around me, since I've been here in California, I've been here like 11 months. I've been taking medicine. This is growth. Because let me tell
Yeah.
you, I also learned that everybody is not going to have that feel for my story that you and I have.
Yeah.
So I have to be strong minded when people come through and and they look at me and they judge me before they even get to know me.
Yeah.
Not
I
only
mean,
that,
like, yeah. I
not
mean, like, I used.
years with someone who committed suicide. I
Mhm.
should have paid more attention to their mental health.
Yeah. I think it's in hindsight, it's a wonderful thing. But I think what we need to do as individuals is we need to be more open with ourselves and with other people as well. Because I think once you admit it to yourself, that's when I think the conversations get easier.
Yep. You right. I know
Because he,
that think you are right. That's the truth.
yeah,
It does.
because
And I've learned that from a lot of things because I wasn't the only person that people done wrong to. When I got wrong to me, I wanted to hurt every man that I met because of what happened to me. And it was like I put a band-aid over that, but I had to get into the truth of what hurted me so I can start to heal correctly and live in my truth. Now,
yeah,
if you see me and you see my page and my story and my movie that's coming, I am so into my truth. People are finding out things about me they never knew. Like when I went through what I went through, I kind of turned to like alcohol and multiple guys, and now look at me, So I say that to say if I didn't pay attention, if I didn't dig deep into my story, I wouldn't have found out where I messed up at and been able to take accountability for the things that Angel done.
yeah,
So with my story, I'm telling my story with accountability versus at
yeah,
first I was telling my story as to what happened to me. No, I want to tell my story with accountability. These are the things that I allowed, but look at where I am now. This is what I'm
yeah,
doing now. My daughter is graduating from high school, although she found her dad covered in flies. That is the most biggest thing to me. Not only did she go through what she went through and she graduated, I didn't graduate and neither did he.
yeah. I
I am
think
so
like everybody loves a success story, and when she graduates, do you guys do the whole cap and gown thing?
yes, yeah, we do that. Y'all do that over there?
On occasion, on occasion.
Okay.
I think her graduating is going to be the biggest. Like, what's the word? Like, she'll know that her dad's there.
Yes.
She'll know that he's there, and I think that's the biggest thing, that she'll know that he's proud.
Yeah. Amen. I agree with you.
What is
Amen.
it? Is she going on to further study?
Yes, she is going for another study. She wants to do No, don't hold me to it because I ain't real good at words. It's called, what is it called? What you want to do? What you going to college for? Yes. Anatomy. Sorry.
Nice. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Do you know, it's good that she has a focus. It's good that she has a dream, and it's good that she has motivation. I think that is super important.
Yes. I
And
am I'm so proud of all of them. We had 5 kids. My
that's
son plays volleyball
okay.
and he's real good.
Yeah.
So they've been in California not too long. They're meeting new people, learning new people. The culture
Yeah.
here is different in California. There's a
Okay.
lot more like Asians, Philippines, like compared to, like where I'm from, there's a lot of, African Americans. But over here, we have more Philippines, we have more Asians, we have all different races. So that's why I said I may be able to understand you because I'm having to, understand over here. It's a lot.
Yeah.
People when they come into America, they come to this state first, where I'm at.
Yeah.
Make sense?
I've been to New York, and
New
even with
York.
even with my accent, people couldn't understand me very well.
Yeah.
So I had to I had to speak clearly and I had to enunciate my words properly.
It's
But
okay. Okay.
yeah,
Did you like?
oh, I loved it.
You
I
loved
loved
it.
it over. But it was, I only spent 10 days there, but it was by far the most expensive thing I have ever done in my lifetime.
Oh, it's cheap over there. Is it cheap
No,
over?
it's very expensive.
What in New York is very expensive.
Yeah,
It's cheap in Switzerland.
yeah,
Oh, okay, okay. Well, New York is very, very high, like where I live now. But where I used to live, cheap. Make
yeah,
sense?
yeah,
Yeah.
very.
This is a California high state where stars are. I'm not a star yet.
Give it time, give it time.
It's coming.
Oh, yeah. So you actually touched on that. You said something about a movie.
I am doing a movie.
So how did that all come about?
I first off, I was looking at people do movies. I was promoting everybody movies, and I'm looking at these movies, and I'm looking at the stories, and I'm like, these are the stories that people want to see. But Angel, you have a story. You have a story.
Yeah.
Are you ready? It's been 10 years. 10 years for you since you walked away from your situation. Your mouth has been like this for 12 years. Are you ready to show the world you and not care what anybody say? I heard a little voice say, yeah, it's time. You're not where you used to live no more. You remember those days you had to defend who you are versus be who you are, Angel? You can finally be who you are. You don't have to defend you no more. You don't have to live in a world of defeat. It's okay to just let your shoulders down and just be happy and embrace you and everything that you've been through.
Do you think that any of it will be quite like reliving it? Do you think any of it will be quite daunting in regards to seeing it on the big screen? If do you know, like, I can imagine it being different. Even if you were to write a book, I think it'd be quite cathartic in book form. But to see it played out in a movie form, that would, yeah,
I have wrote it myself and I am writing a book. I am
nice.
doing a book. So I have wrote the script myself and the script shows you the innocent little girl Angel who was brought into a world of confusion. Her mother was a confused girl from not being loved by her father correctly. So her mother is looking for love in men, and her mother has her. So she's watching her mother look for love in men. So then she starts to do the same thing, and it's like a pattern.
Mm.
Um, to the point where she was 7 years old, which you'll see in the movie. And she wakes up and her mom is arguing with two men. One of the men is a man who beats on her mama, who her mom dates. Another man is the man her mama sees behind the man back because the man is cheating on her. And they got guns to each other. And her mother is standing in between those two men. And she wakes up and she her mama
Mm. You've kind of frozen. There we go.
I was so confused because you telling them to take you away and I know I love you. I swept that under the rug and I went on with my life and I didn't realize how bad it hurted me until I got older. My mom then dated somebody else and they were arguing about her going to I don't know if you ever heard if y'all have this there, but we have college celebrations in America.
Yeah.
And my mom, of course, I was maybe 10. So my mom was only 25, 26. And she wanted to go, and he didn't want her to go to the event. Um, so since he didn't want her to go and she was cooking hamburger helper, he put our food in the dishwater. And the next day, we went to school. We came home, and our house was on fire. And my mama told me that it caught on fire through the wall because she was staying with him. We found out a couple months later, our house didn't catch on fire through the wall. He burnt our house down. But my mama stayed years after. So that's in my movie. Um, I was starting my movie out since I was a little girl instead of how I was gonna start it at first because there's so much more to Angel I survived. There's much more to her than what people see. She used to want to sing. I used to could sing until they took my thyroid. I can't sing no more. They told me I would never be able to sing once I fought thyroid cancer, but I used to could sing. I used to take acting classes. I don't know if you know the movie Grease. You know the movie Grease. I
My
played
favorite.
I played Sandy in a school play, so I was good at that. And I feel like God drew me back to where he knew I loved theater, but with me telling my story. So I have decided to play my own part. When I'm grown in the movie, I'm going to play my own part. I'm going to be myself.
Do you think that you playing yourself is quite an important part of the story?
It's very important because nobody can tell your story like you.
Exactly that. Yeah. Yeah. So obviously, given like you said, obviously you're singing in your theatre and stuff like that. Is there like, have you ever thought about getting involved in more of like a behind the scenes in the
Uh,
theatre?
I have produced a movie here in America.
Okay.
Um, this guy took a chance on me, and I produced a movie called Her Story to Tell. So I have them produce it. I, I was very excited to be able to do that because I'm from a very low fortunate place. I'm from a place where goals and dreams is nothing to people. And I wanted to set myself aside. I wanted to set myself aside. And I feel like when I put my dreams on hold and I went after everything that wasn't for me,
Mhm.
it was for me to come back with my testimony and live my dreams. So I wrote my movie, part one, It's definitely a part two because the story is not finished. I went all the way back to a kid. I'm writing my daughter's movie. She is also doing a movie on her life because we need for teenagers to know that you can go on after tragedy. We need for kids not to fall apart because life happens. We need for kids to know that they are the future and they are important.
Yeah. I mean, I must admit, over here, I mentioned earlier on our NHS, the mental health for kids over here is absolutely amazing. I cannot fault it.
Wow.
Um, when my daughter got diagnosed with her arthritis, she was only 5 at the time, but as time goes on and she got older, um, all the doctors and nurses were like, "If you ever want to talk, here's my card." And all, like, we've got email addresses, we've got Facebook posts and everything like that that she could talk to people. And it's, again, it goes back to just being blessed over here.
Yeah.
Mental health and kids is quite big over here, and I'm so thankful because I'm 42, and when I was growing up, there was nothing like that,
It wasn't.
nothing like that at all.
See, and I
'Cause
think our system is backwards because when I was in school, we had a lot more wings, a lot more things. Like even for like what I just told you, my therapy and my theater and my music. I did all of that in school, and little do you know, kids sitting around learning all day long. They're being picked on by other kids. After school, why not offer them something to do where they're not conjected up into what's going on outside? You know, like an after school program for an hour and a half, which is what I plan to do. When I get where I want to be, I plan to be able to be that source for kids. I also played the African drum when I was little. I did a lot. So it gives the kids something to look forward to. If we're not giving them nothing to look forward to, what are they going to strive for?
that's the thing, and I think if there's nothing for it to look forward to, if there's nothing to channel their energy, they're probably just going to get up to mischief.
Yeah, and then they're probably gonna be, you know, a bunch of failures like the other people that they see. We have to, my stand is to stop making failure normal.
Yes, 100%.
If failure don't have to be normal. I got 6 kids. I've failed 1,000 times, but I've gotten back up. I want people to look at me, look at my story, and say, if she can get back up, I can get back up. If she can go, I can go. Because there was a time that I had nobody to look at and say, if they can do it, I can do it. All I had was my faith, which is why I've named my character in my movie. Her name is either, right now I wrote it out and it's Faith, but I'm thinking I want to add my name in there because my name is Angel and make it Angel Faith. But if it wasn't for my faith in God, I wouldn't be where I am. It wasn't no outlets. I didn't have, it wasn't many podcasts around where you could speak up, you know, like just being able to tell somebody something can
Yeah,
bring you a little peace. But
100.
if you're constantly in a clutter, you're battered up, and you know you're dealing with this abusive husband, or you're dealing with cancer, and you ain't got nobody. All those things are gonna beat you mentally.
Yes. Yeah, I think
And
it just seems to be a big, yeah, I think it seems to be a big vicious cycle.
yeah, and they're making it a cycle, but we the people can fix it.
Yeah,
I feel like what my daughter went through is a cycle for failure,
yeah,
and it didn't go that way. And if I can do that with my child, I can tell our story, and I can do that globally.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think one of the best bit of advices that I got when I was going through my struggles was it's okay to fall 100 times as long as you get up 101.
Exactly. Exactly. It's okay to fall, but the problem is staying there. Don't don't be comfortable staying there, you know. So and then even me, I won't lie. I'm in California. I'm 2,200 miles away from home. I'm uncomfortable, but I'm at peace. You
That's
got to get uncomfortable though to get
100%.
going. You know,
Yeah,
you've got to get uncomfortable. And I won't lie. I'm at peace over here, but I'm uncomfortable. I don't know nobody or nothing. But before your breakthrough, you're gonna be so uncomfortable because you're gonna learn the value of yourself
Yeah.
and the purpose that God has for you. Sometimes you got to get along to get what he has for you.
Absolutely. I mean, nothing good ever happens in your comfort zone.
No. So I'm totally uncomfortable. I won't lie to you. I'm uncomfortable. I've started this little podcast for survivors, and guess what? I'm uncomfortable doing that, but I'm helping other people. So it all has to go,
Yeah.
okay?
I'm exactly the same. And that was the reason I started this kind of thing, was because I've got a couple of hours spare on a night, and I was like, do you know, I just fancied trying to do something and speaking to proper strangers. Like, I can do it face to face, no worries. But it's when you're like, across the pond, shall we say, and it's a complete stranger. You're like, you're inviting this person to bare their soul. And I
Yeah.
think it can be quite intimidating for both. But if there's something there that, like your story, if people, it's not a case of want to hear it, but people need to hear it.
Amen. They do.
Yeah. So I think, as if between my podcast and yours, I think it's, if we could spread awareness, if we could spread a positive message, then who cares if we're out of our comfort zone for about an hour? Look
Exactly.
at the bigger picture.
Exactly. You right. You are right to paint the better picture. And then we
Yeah,
are two people on two different sides of the world, but we're focusing on the same thing. You right.
yeah,
You
absolutely.
are
And
right.
it's funny how things like this could bring people together again, like
Yeah.
thousands of miles away.
Yeah.
And what you're going through, someone that's maybe 5 minutes down the street from me could be going through the same thing.
Exactly.
And it's all about realizing that you're not alone in things,
Amen.
especially the mental health side of things, because you know when I went through my kind of trauma back in 2017, I thought I was the only one,
Yeah.
because that was the mentality that you kind of have sometimes at the very start.
Hmm.
Um, when I was on my medication, it used to make me feel so horrible.
Hmm.
It would make me lethargic. It would make me really tired. It would make me physically sick. Um, but me being me, I thought that I knew better,
Yeah.
and I stopped taking it. Stupid, it was. I look at that now and it's like, yeah, you're an idiot. But I thought that I knew better,
Hmm.
not realizing that the doctor gives you this for your own benefit.
Yes. Yeah.
And again, I think it's possibly people being somewhat uneducated. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah.
Which is why I think that conversations like this, regardless of how uncomfortable they might be, they're valuable, and I think they're needed.
I agree. I'm in totally agreement with you. And that's part of why I've started my podcast, because I was like, I remember like when people gave me a chance, like you came and you gave me a chance, but I was like, I remember when people gave me a chance, and I realized me talking about it helped me heal even more. I want to be that voice for people.
Yeah.
One of my interviews I even paid money for to try and get my voice utilized. So that's why I was like, you know what? No, I'm on offer free. I've built my platforms up. I'm friends with a lot of people that does movies and stuff like that. Possibly I may interview somebody who's doing a book or something, and they may run into somebody who want to turn their book into a movie. I'm just trying to be a blessing to somebody.
That's the thing. It's not always what you know, but it's who you know.
Yeah, yes, it is. It's who you know. It
Yeah.
is definitely who you know, because I have met some great people.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you something.
Go for it.
I've gotten a. Do you have Roku over there?
No.
Y'all don't have Roku?
No.
Okay. Do y'all have Fire Stick TV?
Yes.
Okay, this interview, you're gonna send me a copy, and I'm gonna put it on Fire Stick TV for you. So you make sure you keep your podcast stuff over there in the corner, so people can start to know who you are. Because
Yeah.
some that I gave you in this interview today, I haven't gave nobody.
Woo!
So
Exclusives.
So let's try, and I will when you done, you do what you do, you edit it or whatever, and then you send it to me and I'll have it put on the Fire Stick and then I'll tell you how to go to it.
Love it.
And then you make sure your name is in the corner so that builds for people because I'm not gonna put it on my Facebook yet. We're gonna try and shoot people to Fire Stick and get them to watch your interview. Although they're supposed to be watching mine, I want to get them to watch yours too, okay?
I love it.
We'll do that. And then what I'll do is after we have it on there for a week, I'll post it on my Facebook. I'll tag you and I hope that you can gain followers as well as, like I have.
Yeah.
I also have a group that has 70,000 people in it that I share my stuff in it as well. It's my group. But it talks about movies, but it also talks about what we're talking about. It talks
Mhm.
about life stuff. So even after you do more interviews on people and people are telling their stories, you can put it in my group.
I love it.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. See, again, it's who that you know.
Yeah, God is doing something so big in my life. And when I tell you that He is using me and using others, and He is making a great connection for people who are out there in that dark place. I was in a dark place for 10 years. My mouth been like this for the longest, and I won't lie to you. If you'd have saw me 3 years ago, you'd have looked at my mouth and made a joke. Boy, I probably want to fight, but
uh,
now I will smile at you. But first of all, like you said, I have this attitude where we're in the store. I'll pick up turnip greens, you picking up green beans. I'm like, how you doing? Have a nice day and take it easy. That's
aye,
me. That's my attitude in the store. But that's because where I'm from, people wouldn't like it. You look at somebody where I'm from, you might get hit. You know, so I wanted to deliver something different. I wanted to be somebody different, do something different. So I have people back home who are looking up to me. And I really appreciate that. But I want them to know don't look up at me. Let's look across from each other. If I can't, you can. Don't look up at me. Let's look across. Let's go. Let's grow and go. There's room for everybody.
for sure. I actually really like that quote. Don't look up to me, look across from me. That
Yeah,
is good.
hey, look across from me. We might just be in the same room.
I like that actually. Yeah, because it's funny how, kind of going off track a little here, how people look up to celebrities, but they're just people.
They're just people. And
They're
guess
they're no
what?
different to you or I.
And they are the people that have the most mental health problems.
Yeah.
And, and, and and that's why I wanted to make sure my mental health was good before I get the fame. Fix your mental health before the fame. Fix your mental health before you get there. Because when you get there, it ain't gonna be important to you no more. And the second something happen, you might not be that strong.
Exactly.
Um, I don't know if you know, but Saturday we had a finna be NFL draft kill himself here in the United States.
Aye.
He committed suicide. Um, And although he had some things going on with court and stuff, I don't care what you have going on in the world. Nothing should make you feel like you shouldn't be here. So this still revolves around how important mental health
For
is.
sure. For
Uh,
sure.
was a he was a first round draft pick,
Yeah.
and he committed suicide on Saturday. A lot of people get success before they get a mental understanding of themselves.
Yeah.
And what I realized is, as I'm telling my story and people say stuff back to me, oh, I've heard some mean stuff. And
Mhm.
I said, I've heard some mean stuff. But I tell you what, I started my therapy. I go to therapy. I have a therapist, and she's a cool lady, and I can talk to her like I talk to everybody else, and I can tell her how I'm really feeling. When I really don't want to say it, I'm like, you know what they almost made me do? So you definitely need to have that outlet of somebody to talk to. So me, even at 35 years old, doing my movie, doing my book, I do therapy on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I take my medicine.
Yeah.
So, and I would just wanted to point that out and make sure people heard that clear, that you can have success and attend things that helps your mental health. It
Yeah.
don't make you look slow. It don't make you look crazy. I've actually found the better me.
Yeah.
I,
Good.
learned so much more about me. I'm much more of a communicator, you know what I'm saying? Versus all these rapid things in your mind.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
snap instead of trying to understand things.
That's the thing, is I think people are quite scared to open their mouth in case what they say makes them sound crazy. But do you know what? We're all a little crazy, aren't we? It's
Yeah,
what
we
makes
all look
us it's
crazy.
what makes us unique. It's what makes me me and what makes you you.
Yes, exactly.
So yeah, like one of my favourite musicians, Chester Bennington from Linkin Park,
Okay.
when he committed when he done what he done, that really bothered me because here's this man like that's adored by millions of people, but he was sad. And
Yes.
it's you've got on the one hand like the naivety thinking, how could you be so sad? You've got X amount in the bank, you've got all this success, but all that fails in comparison.
Yep. And that's what makes it known that mental health is way more important than the dollar. You know,
Yes,
you got rich people committing suicide. So it tells you that mental health is way more important. It's important to dig into it. And they look at men and they feel like, and I'm not a man, and I'm not saying this because my kids that committed suicide, but I'm saying this because we look at men and we see what a man that should go to work. He might cheat, he might be in the streets, but we never look at a man that might need help. He
yes,
just might need help. He just might need to know somebody care. Because y'all are men, y'all are not supposed to show that side of you. You know, like when parents be like, you don't cry, you a boy.
yes.
I think that's messing the kids up. I think boys should be able to cry. I
Oh,
think
without a doubt. Without a doubt. Like I'm quite an emotional person, to be fair, and I'll sit and I'll tear up when I'm watching the TV in front of my daughter because it's important that she knows that it's okay.
yeah.
So, like, we'll be sitting watching like a YouTube video and it'll be a sad video or something, and I'll be like,
Yeah.
and she'll look at me and she'll be like, oh.
Society has made us think men are not supposed to cry, you know.
Yeah,
And that really does nothing but tear our men down because when they need to cry, they're ashamed to, you
yeah.
know.
Like over here, I don't know if it's prevalent over there, but us men, we get told to man up a lot of the time, and it's like, fuck you. Do you
Yeah,
know what I mean? It's
I'm human. I mean, my gender is man, but I'm
yeah,
human, you
yeah,
know.
yeah, that's the thing. And it's been for me to be comfortable with myself. It's taken me years,
Okay.
but I can safely say now that I'm in a place where I don't care. If you like,
That's me.
if you like me, you like me. If you don't,
You don't. Exactly. That is me. That's me.
like I heard a quote on an interview. I was one of those YouTube videos I was scrolling past, and somebody says, "If you have a problem with me, text me, and if you don't have my phone number, you don't know me well enough to have a problem with me."
Exactly. So that's just like when people have a problem with you, through social media. Oh, I was about to tell you something. You said, oh my God, I was about to say something. You said something, and I was about to say something. Um, I don't know what you said, but it was something I was about to piggyback
No.
off of. Man, I don't
I
even know.
hate I hate when that happens.
I do
You've
too.
got a good train of thought going.
Yes. And you like, okay,
Oh,
my next thing is to say, and you forget. What was it? I don't like when my brain does that. It was so. Oh, have you saw me on those YouTube videos?
not yet.
Well, I went viral, and I told people that I got my tea from Timu. I ordered some tea from Timu. I,
Okay.
I didn't think I didn't think I would really be able to wear them, of course, but I put them in right, and I got on the video and I said, Timu failed me. Thought maybe I could do them like this, and I got on YouTube, and somebody took it off of TikTok and put it on YouTube.
Oh Jesus. See,
With
YouTube is such a YouTube is such it's one of those like really it's bad because you can end up on YouTube for the tiniest of things.
Yeah. And I try to get them to interview me. You gonna post my teeth. Well, let's tell them the story so we can, let them know that I'm coming with this story so they can understand that I was being funny. Let me tell you something. I would have never been this funny about my teeth. This is a spot that has hurted me for years.
Yeah.
But I've reached this point to where I don't give a that's what I was gonna say. Where I don't give a care how I'm viewed. I don't give a care who says this or who says that because I have this deeper relationship with myself. And then I got this deeper one with God. And He's the only person that can tell me that I ain't right, or I ain't looking right, or my appearance is off. And God says, come how you are. So I know I'm enough for Him. But yeah, so yeah, I felt like that too. I wouldn't even open my mouth. I wouldn't show my hair. Um, like I kind of closed myself off from the world. But during that time, I also learned to love me more because you've battled with defending who you are. When you live in a neighborhood where everybody is rowdy, you're defending who you are versus being who you are. And now that I've hit this 30-year-old mark, I'm being who I am.
Good. And so you should be.
Yes.
It's funny how you kind of look back at life in general and you think like hindsight is a wonderful thing. Like I've got a big tattoo sleeve here and it's all about like I love the idea of time travel
Uh-huh.
and I love the idea of being able to go back and fix things in your life.
Okay.
But I know that you can't. I know that you can't. But we've seen Back to the Future. It's impossible. But the thought of being able to go back and just fuck the people over that fucked you over, like, wouldn't that be wonderful?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be sitting here who I am today if I could.
Now
And
that's the word. That is
I'm
me.
okay with
That's
that.
that's how I feel, and I'm okay
Yeah.
with that. I didn't go back, to do the people what they did to me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I did learn that all the people that tried to put me down and make me lower than who I am don't even have the clarity that I have today. They don't even have the clarity or the relationship that I have with God today. They knew that I was going to become better and my relationship with God would get better and the mother in me would get better. I'm talking about people that said I was a horrible mom and everything because I was trying to love a man versus loving these kids, but I was confused. My own grandmother went into a psychic ward over my granddaddy. So love means a lot in my family to the women. My mama had to go see my grandma at a crazy home over love because she came home and caught my granddaddy in her bed with another woman, and he's married to her sister today.
Oh, oh, Jesus.
So
Yeah.
my story is still going on. I learned a lot from my grandmama though. I spent a lot of time with my grandma that people will see in the movie. I learned a lot from my grandma. My grandma actually lived with HIV over 30 years of my life. My granny, well, no, not 30 years. I say 20 because she died when I was like 29, 30. But she lived with HIV. She had to have a blood transfusion when she got to Nashville, Tennessee back in the 70s. And the blood that Vanderbilt Hospital gave my grandma was HIV blood.
Oh,
What you
that's
just got, nobody has that either. It's in my movie, but I
yeah,
talk too much about it. I just really want to show the strength of how my granny was.
yeah,
Because even once I had kids, I wasn't living right. I was trying to chase the man who really was trying to get away from me, although he was my husband. In my mind, I feel like if I'm married to you, nothing should keep us from not being working it out, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's how I felt. But a lot of men, they don't feel like that. So my grandma, I would drop my kids off on my granny to go chase and see what he doing. It was just crazy. But my grandma was living with HIV the whole time. That lady was strong. Strong.
It's mad because sometimes like you want to protect the kids, so you don't necessarily tell them the full story of what's going on. but sometimes transparency is always better.
My kids saw their mother better once I let go.
Yeah.
It was like for them, it didn't really just change their vibe, their attitude as I thought it would, as much as it did for me. Like
Mhm.
we talked about having these teenagers in this house together. You know what I'm saying? So it was like for him to us to separate when they was younger. For me, I feel like no, that's gonna be bad for my kids. That didn't work out for my kids, you know. But in actuality, once I came to reality with what the way things were, my kids got a better version of their mom and their dad. My son, the summer before their dad committed suicide, my son spent his first summer with his daddy. Um, Less than a month before he committed suicide, he picked up all the kids from all his kids, and he usually never get all my kids because one of my kids was made in his mistress' house in her bed.
That's mad.
I loved him, and she was telling him she had two kids. He left me for a ready-made
Mhm.
family. She had two kids. I hadn't been with nobody. She had two different baby daddies at that, and she
Yeah.
was 20 something, 21 or something. So yeah. So So she was like, she said, did you try to her baby daddy or whatever? I said, no, I want my baby daddy. Have her leave her house, and I'm gonna come down there and see you in her house in her bed. He had her leave her house. I went down there and I saw him in her house, in her bed. I left out the door. I get in my car. She's pulling up. She starts hooping and hollering. But any other, he's still married to me at this time, right? But any other time I could come down her house, drop my kids off, pick up money. She's hooping and hollering. I'm in my Mustang. He had her sell her car, pawn her title to her car. He got money from her. He bought me a car with her money. She came to my house and tore the car up. Then he went back with her. Then when he went back with her, a dude that I was messing with because he was already cheating, got the window and the tire fixed on the car. Then I went and slept with him in her house in her bed. She was hollering at the back of my car as I was pulling off. When I got to my grandmama house, my ex-husband called me and said, you got a warrant on you. I said, why I got a warrant on you? He said, because I just beat her up and she just called the police and told them you beat her up.
Jeez. Whoa.
So then I had to go to jail for something I didn't do. And he bonded me out. So I was sitting on my granny porch, which is in the hood, and he rode through with her in the car. When they rode through, he was going to his homeboy house. He left her in the car. I walked up there and I drug her out the car.
It sounds like you're going to need maybe 2 or 3 movies here. You're gonna need a trilogy.
I told you I'm a changed person, but I had to tell you, like, she put me in jail, right? So I had the assault charge on me. So I went up there, and then when I really did fight her, do you know the police showed up and guess what they did? They gave me a citation. But you just heard me say I went to jail for what I didn't do.
Yeah. Oh
How does
man.
that work?
I know. To be fair, the police over here aren't much better, to be fair. But yeah, to be fair, like, do they carry guns where you are?
Did the what? No. You said what? Yeah, they carry guns. I know what he said. My husband understood you. He said you said do they carry guns? Yeah, they carry guns. They carry guns. They carry mace. Look, one time I got to fight when I was a teenager. I looked up and the police had mace to me and said, "Let her go."
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm from a wild place, and I
Yeah.
did know another life. The guy that I was married to was a gangbanger. My ex-husband was a gangbanger. He was a big time drug dealer. So yeah.
Our the only thing that our police carry is only some of them only carry tasers. Like we don't we yeah, we don't have guns or nothing.
So it's no violence then. The violence is low, right?
Oh no.
I I wish I would have had my phone screen recorded when I asked him that. I asked him, so there's no violence because they only carry mace. He said, "No, it's violence." What?
It's, it's certain places in Scotland are really bad. There's a place called Glasgow, and it is rough.
Wow.
It's possible. It's possibly. I'm probably going to offend a lot of people from Glasgow on here, but the for drugs and violence, it's top of the list in Scotland. That's not a brag. Not
Yeah, he's not trying to offend y'all. He's just trying to explain to me how it
yes, that's exactly it.
is.
But no, our police don't even carry like pepper spray. We don't carry mace. Just it's only certain police officers that are trained to use tasers, and that
They
is it.
taser.
And that is
Over here, if they just had a taser, it would be crazy.
yeah, I know.
It would be crazy. America's already just a little crazy. Where I am now, though, they say it's crazier than where I was raised and born. But I live in like a really quiet part of it,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
I mean, our police are only just getting body cameras.
Y'all just not getting body cameras? Wow,
We're
behind.
we're a little bit behind the times here.
Yeah, I was gonna say behind.
Oh man.
Time just changing.
So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling now?
I feel like 10 right now. I feel self-driven. I feel competitive. I feel clarity. And most of all, I feel like I'm at peace because no matter what I've done, I have forgiven myself and I'm just ready to use it for those who are where I was to get ahead in life.
Good. And do you think that finding the inner peace within yourself has been pivotal in regards to you going forward?
Do I think the peace within myself has been said again?
Like, how important has it been to find peace within yourself to go
That's
forward?
the number one goal. First of all, to even tell your story, write a book, do a script, you have to find peace first because you're going to meet millions of people who love your story and feel like you should go on. But the world is also filled with a few more millions who's going to feel like you shouldn't tell your story, who's going to try to knock you down. So, the most important part to starting this journey that I'm on is finding your peace, your self love, and your confidence because the world is waiting to tear you down.
Yeah,
Just like I say that, I tell my kids that same thing that they need to learn to, deal with situations in this house with your family, learn to communicate within the schools because after that, you think it's hard trying to communicate with kids at school, you think it's hard trying to communicate in this house. It is really hard trying to communicate with the world. The world will chew you up and spit you out. So
always.
for me, I had to find my peace to let people know I'm Angel, I survived. And I use my other shirt that usually says I'm Angel, I survived, and I'm supposed to be here. But I got on Team Angel, I survived today. But by the I supposed to be here, that means I'm supposed to be here doing exactly what I'm doing wherever I am. By that I mean I know a lot of people who get in their car with $200 and go to move 2,200 miles away, and they make it. I live in a 5-bedroom house today, 3 bath. I was homeless for 35 days in my car. I've been homeless 2 times out of my life. So look at me and say, if she can, I can. I don't care if you sleeping on a pillow right now. I was too.
Yeah. I think as well, once you're at the very bottom, there's nowhere else to go but up.
Yeah, there's nowhere else to go but up. I
Yeah,
made a post today and I was like, get ready to live in your answer prayers. Get ready to live in the days that you prayed about. You've
absolutely.
already started living in the days that you prayed about. You just don't see it because what God does, He don't do it in your face. He does it behind your back and blow your mind.
Exactly that. I love it. So I just want to say thank you so much for being here. I want to be mindful of your time. You've got a whole day ahead of you. For me, it's almost bedtime, but
Oh, for you it's bedtime?
it's almost 10 p.m. here.
Yes, bedtime.
Yeah, but again, I want to say thank you so much. Yeah,
Thank
again,
you, Will, and you will stay in touch, and God bless you.
for
Uh,
sure. If you
and
could
keep on.
send me the links to your Facebook group that you were talking about.
I will.
Yeah, I will get this edited and I will send you a copy in the next couple of days.
Okay, you have a blessed one, Will. Thank you.
You too. Thank you
Off
again.
to Switzerland.
Oh man, that was Angel. What an absolutely incredible story. Um, there's not much that can be said in regards to that. I think it's a story that needs told. It's a story that everybody should hear. So once again, I want to thank you guys for joining me on this kind of impromptu episode, if you will. But thank you guys again, and as always, I will see you down the road.